were we just talking about before that? The BP thing. What is going on? Because I've heard that there's new oil slicks that they've discovered. I've been reading about that online. That they've discovered that there's.
Hold on, Joey V's at the door.
Joey B. What? Joe D.
Joe D.
Joe D.
I'm going to call him Joey V now.
We're talking about BP, the oil spill.
What's happening, buddy?
Good, man. You want to? Hey, good to see you.
Absolutely, always a pleasure.
Make sure the delay's on in there.
Why? What do I do?
Fred Flintstone's in here. I'm just joking.
What do I do?
What? You're at the door like a hungry wolf. You like cigars? You don't.
Sure.
Is that a good cigar?
I don't know. Where'd you get it from?
I don't know. It's the same kind that Jesse smokes, and I just like them.
Jesse who?
Jesse Ventura.
Okay.
But that's the cigar story. I wasn't trying to name drop with you guys.
What's going on with BP? Are there new oil slicks? That's what I've been hearing. I've been hearing reading all these things on the internet that sailors have reported new oil slicks and captains have.
Oh, absolutely. It shattered the whole ocean floor. It never stopped leaking. It's just the main leak, which was, obviously hundreds of millions of gallons. That has been capped. But the big story is they used tens of millions of gallons of core exit. They used just a little bit of it with the Exxon Valdez cleanup. And now the average life expectancy for those workers is 51, so it's reducing about 25 years off their life. But Obama came out on TV and said there's no health problems, even though there are, and that the oil spill is completely cleaned up, which it isn't. But the government says that everything's fine. It must be, Joe.
Yeah, those dispersants, right? That's supposed to be very bad for your body, for people if they get.
It's super deadly. It's super deadly.
And they have prisoners. They make prisoners clean up too. Isn't that funny? They take dudes that are in prison, and that's what they're using for cleanup crews. Can you imagine that? Just go to jail for selling some weed. Next thing you know, you're getting cancer from cleaning up toxins. BP oil spill.
That's part of the deal.
Is that what happens?
You're messed up, they take you out there. Sometimes you got to give prisoners.
Did you ever have to do any, when you were in prison, did you ever do any, like, cleanup stuff on the side of the road?
I had a driver's license. I worked in the kitchen. I told you that already. I was a stock clerk.
Joey is a real character, folks.
How are you, Alex Jones? We've been talking about you. Your ears must be ringing. We're big fans. We love you to death. You're the last of the real Mohicans.
Well, I'm a fan of you. You're a great comedian.
You're the last of the real Mohicans. You're telling it like it is here, and that's how I drop it. You know me.
Well, I wish I would have known you were coming today, and I wish you guys hadn't got stuck in traffic. 2 wrecks on 35. Yeah. It's usually 15 minutes from where you were at, but if there's a wreck, you got to get off the road or it's an hour.
Yeah, you got small highways and a lot of people, and it's a cool town, and a lot of people know about it, unfortunately, so there's more people moving in every year, right?
Joey, absolutely. Joey Diaz, let me ask you a question. But outside town, kind of where I live, it's not as bad. It just takes longer to get in. Let me ask you both this question in the time we've got left. Depleted uranium. The government knows it's going to kill the troops, but they use it. The government, 20 years ago wouldn't. Now they do. The government knows the core exit's going to kill people. They don't care. And my issue is government's doing things now more reckless than it's ever done before, and it seems like they just don't care. What do you think that is?
I think they got away with it. I think governments only get away with what they can get away with, and I think people are so complacent and they're so willing to trust the government and to let them be led in these insane ventures all over the world that I think once they get away with something for a certain amount of time, as long as they can keep getting away with it, they're going to continue it. I don't think, unless someone comes in and stops it, unless something dramatic happens to put a stop to 90% of all the chaos that we engage in around the world, unless someone comes in and says, this is not how we want to live, this is not how we want to run the world, unless that happens, it's going to continue.
Well, I agree with you, because we found out in Bloomberg that 11 years ago, the VA signed a secret deal with Prudential and others to take the death benefits that they paid in for insurance for 6 million World War II through current service people. And the government just came out a few weeks ago and said, yes, we took your money, and we're not paying you your insurance money when your husband or wife dies, and that's the end of it. Or the mortgages, taking people's mortgages and taking houses that are actually paid for. And I'm sure you've heard about all that now. I mean, it even freaks me out at how evil and brazen and hubris-filled, and I agree with you, they've just gotten away with so much, now the sky's the limit. Joey, what's your view on this?
Listen, they've been getting away with it for years. We were talking about the Unabomber yesterday, how he's jacked up, about a documentary.
Yeah, well, we're talking about the Unabomber. There's a documentary called The Net that showed that Ted Kaczynski, while he was a student at Harvard.
CIA.
Yeah, well, he went into CIA LSD studies, and they cooked his brain. They did it all.
He was a mind control op. That's just the cover, yeah.
Well, I mean...
Same thing with McVeigh. No, but go ahead. That's important.
He was a mind control op. So.
Well, they fried his brain, did electroshock, and he was a decoy the whole time.
Well, I don't know about all that. What I know about is what I read about the LSD studies, that he was involved in these Ken Kesey Harvard studies that they did with Timothy Leary, and they did a bunch of personality, modification studies.
Yeah, that's mind control.
Yeah, but it's all LSD. I mean, that's what they were doing a bunch of things. I mean, we talked about that midnight climax.
They were injecting it.
Yeah, well, they were doing a lot of different...
Who was the other guy that was injecting the horse tranquilizer stuff? You talked...
Oh, that's John Lilly. He was injecting ketamine.
Altered States.
Yeah, that's the guy who, that's Altered States was based on him. The movie, the idea behind it is based on this guy Lilly, who invented the isolation tank.
Do you guys think we're going to become a Type 1 civilization by that? We're going to get off the planet and survive?
It's not going to be us, man. It's going to be the next thing. That's what I think. I think there's no more dinosaurs. Amoebas eventually become human beings, which will eventually give way to the next thing. We're going to not be in this shape forever.
So a merger with the machines.
It's very possible, and it's very...
Well, I want to stay the way I am.
Well, maybe you can. Maybe there'll be a few rat people living out in the outskirts of town, like digging for holes in the ground for water while the computer overlords run the world. Maybe we can survive.
That's actually the globalist plan. Have you seen my film Endgame, Joe?
I have not seen that one.
Here, I'm going to give you in the whole... You guys want these?
Doom and gloom.
Okay, well, here's 3 end games. Here's a what in the world are they spraying about the chemtrails. It's now been confirmed.
Get that one to Eddie Bravo immediately. I might have to wire that back home.
And then here, have an enemy of the state.
On my hard drive and then put it up on a torrent so that Eddie can get it tonight?
No, no. My films are all online for free, but some of these aren't mine, so I can't authorize it. But
we'll go crazy for some chemtrails. That dude is always looking at the sky like someone's spraying.
No, it's admitted they are. It's weather modification, yeah.
That's all of it? Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I've been making a chemtrail film with eugenics for 2 years, and actually a lot of the footage that's in this is, we were at similar conferences and things, but I'm waiting to put it out. This is G. Edward Griffin put this out. I think it's great. It's the first film to come out since they've admitted a lot of this. But they're like, oh, we were doing a secret program.
Well, listen, man, you spend all day doing this. You spend all day going over all the darkness in the world and investigating all these different conspiracies and all these different things. You should, you're thinking about this stuff all day. What's the solution? What's the solution to make the world a better place? What's the solution to, instead of just dwelling on all this stuff every day and finding and uncovering every day more and more corruption and lies?
Every time you come in, Joe, you try to interview me. I want to talk to you. Okay, what is the solution?
Yes.
Not taking things for granted, as you don't. Not being, soft mentally or physically, and not that I'm perfect about that on one side. And trying to figure out how the world works and trying to be involved and to try to stand up to corruption so hubris that you talked about doesn't run wild.
We got to educate the people that are already there. We got to educate the people that are already running things that the way they're running things is stupid.
Well, that is one way to do it, is to reach out to the ruling class and say, is this really what you want?
Out of it. Just because it's been going on like this forever, like you're a part of some deadly corporation.
Joe, where are you speaking next after...
Speaking?
Well, doing your comedy, your stand-up, yeah.
It sounds like I'm speaking here. I'm in Germany next week for the UFC, and then the week after that, I'm in Auburn Hills and Ann Arbor, Michigan. What is it? Ann Arbor Comedy Club?
Ann Arbor Comedy Club.
And it's JoeRogan.net. Joey Diaz, what's your website?
Don't worry about it. What I want to talk to you about is I like what you do, Alex. You know what I'm saying? You're a good man. The government is good and bad. We live in a free society here in the United States, and we have freedom here. I'm from Cuba, so we have freedom, something a lot of people don't know. And in freedom, good and bad has to happen for us to have freedom. Do you understand me?
Oh, hold on. We've got to go into super overdrive.
Oh, yeah. We're going into overdrive here. If you want freedom, this is what comes with the cost of freedom. We have a government that experiments with...
All right. I got to go to break.
Experimenting with us for years. This is nothing new. I'm sick of it myself.
Tell you what, we're going into super overdrive, commercial-free with Joey Diaz. I'm joking. Joey Diaz. It's a joke. I had a guy work your name, Joey V. And Joe Rogan. I'm Alex Jones. Back in 70 seconds with super overdrive.
Yes.
This is GCN, the Genesis Communications Radio Network.
The question is, where should the American people draw their line in the sand?
What have we got? A republic or a monarchy?
A republic is based on a constitution which protects minority rights.
Not democracy, not mob rule, 2 wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner. So they think they own our land, They think they own our water, children, our education, our money.
We have to define who we are and what we will tolerate.
Somebody's going to ask you what you did during the Patriot Uprising.
You have been warned.
We have the facts.